Hello. If you don't already know me, I'm an American who's been living in the Philippines for almost 7 years, right at 7 years in just a matter of a few days, with my Filipino wife and our 3 kids. So I wanted to do this talk, and I'm going to be being completely honest about what life is really like living here.
So what you saying, you've been dishonest otherwise?
Let me say it a different way. I'm not a travel channel promoting all of the goodnesses that the Philippines has to offer, but rather my real life perspective after living here for the past 7 years. And by the way, the reality is way better than the fabricated stories might be anyway, so...
Oh, gotcha. Well, that's really what I clicked into your video to hear.
Yeah. So people want to know if it's all tropical paradise or if there's more to it than what you see in travel vlogs. And there's a lot to consider, and that's literally what I'm going to be covering today. Welcome to the G5 Philippines channel. Hope you're having a great day. Thank you for clicking in to see what I might have to say, and just to get it out of the way, if you haven't already and you like this video, it would be so awesome if you would hit that like and subscribe and comment below so I can get to know you better. It's free. Why not? So let me give you a little background on my experience living here over the past 7 years. I have lived in the Central Visayas in Negros Occidental, but I've had extended stays all over the Philippines. This includes Cebu City, Iloilo City, Puerto Princesa in Palawan, as well as several months in Manila and another several months over in Legazpi City in Albay. So with all of that, I've gotten a very good sampling of, all of the environments, metro, urban, and, rural or provincial environments.
So why did you spend time in those areas?
Okay, yeah. So in my work, I have clients in the U.S. with interest in these different areas. So I'm sort of, their feet on the ground for them. But my family and I have lived, in San Carlos City from day one, which is, again, more of a provincial city. And by the way, perfect for family life where things are more like the typical Filipino life. But I've stayed in all kinds of accommodations, from your bare bones hotels that, only cost, around 1,000 pesos per night, all the way out to, high-end Western style condos or homes via Airbnb with all the comforts, with air conditioning, reliable internet, hot water, and all that kind of good stuff. However, those places are going to be far more expensive. But these experiences have given me, a glimpse of seeing both sides of life, what most expats may experience and what locals live, day to day.
Wow, you must think that you're some kind of world traveler or something.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but yeah, this mix of living situations has given me a really broad perspective on what it's like to live here, whether you're going for a more Western style life or immersing yourself in the local culture. So one of the biggest misconceptions that people have about living in the Philippines is that it's super cheap. And yeah, it can be, but it really depends on how you choose to live, the lifestyle that you want.
Yeah, I figure I can live like a king on about $800 a month.
Okay, maybe. If you're willing to live like a local in simpler accommodations, you can absolutely get by on a smaller budget. But if you want Western comforts like air conditioning, reliable Wi-Fi, or imported foods, the costs start to add up fast. For example, our house rent is 15,000 pesos per month for about a 1,500 square foot, size house. It's no frills, but it's a great little house with everything we need. On the other hand, if you're looking for a Western style condo with a pool, gym, and all of those kind of amenities, then you'll definitely be paying a lot more, maybe even double. In addition to housing, food can be a lot cheaper if you're eating like a local. And when I say local, I'm talking about, the Filipinos. But if you're craving Western brands or imported foods, which I do, then you're going to notice that difference on your grocery bill. So yeah, the cost of living here can be deceiving, but overall you can live on about $1,000 to $2,000 per month. You just need to be flexible with your lifestyle. And by the way, I'll put a link up here to my last budget video that I did. All right, so now let's talk about Filipino hospitality. And you always hear about how Filipinos are some of the friendliest people in the world, and in many cases that is 100% absolutely true. But I've actually found that the level of friendliness can vary depending on where you are.
So what are you saying? There's no free smiles and warm hugs?
No, I didn't say that. I've just been in places where people are incredibly warm and welcoming and eager to strike up a conversation, or even so far as to invite you into their home and share a meal. But I've also been in areas where people are more reserved or cordial. And it's not that they're unfriendly, they're just not as outwardly expressive as the reputation might lead you to believe. I find it to be a lot of fun when I'm walking or in a motor cab or whatever, and I say hello or mayong buntag or whatever, and they smile back with a hello or good morning or a mayong buntag in return. Another thing that I have a lot of fun with is trying to speak the little bit of Visayan that I know, butchering it entirely, I'm sure, and they just laugh at me. But seriously, it does take time to build mutually trusting relationships here. But once you do, you'll find that people are incredibly loyal and kind. Now, when it comes to the beauty of the Philippines, it really is a stunning place to live. And where we live, we don't have any white sandy beaches nearby, but it's funny that this is coming up on the video as I'm speaking. This is the port that takes you over to the next island. And as I was about to say, within an hour, we can travel to the next island over and get that experience. And then with a little more travel, we can find everything from beaches with crystal clear waters to lush mountains and big cities with modern malls, restaurants, the cinema, nearly anything we want or need. And I love being able to take a short drive, hop on a boat, and find myself in some of the most beautiful places you've ever seen. Whether it's going to Cebu or the trip I used to take between Negros and Iloilo, it's easy to find a quiet beach in the middle of nowhere. So yeah, living here means you've got endless opportunities for travel and adventure. And I'm not saying that as a travel vlog, I'm saying that because it's true, it's real life. All right, so let's talk about food in the Philippines. Now, for me, Filipino food is a bit of a mixed bag. I'll just put it to you that way.
Uh-oh, here comes the food critic.
Well, I'm sorry, but it's true. And, I've been married to a Filipina for 13 years, so I can speak honestly on this. There are some dishes that I absolutely love, like chicken adobo, different types of lumpia is some of my favorites. And when I was over in Legazpi, I discovered Bicol Express, and I absolutely love that. It's a nice mix of spicy and sweet with the coconut milk. But the other thing that we've got is which is amazing to me is, we have all of the fresh fruits, but especially like pineapple, bananas right off the tree. But if you're finicky or you have particular taste, then you may find it a bit challenging here. For one, a lot of Filipino food tends to be, and again, this is my opinion, but it's sort of bland. A lot will have kind of a salty thing with, the Filipinos' love for vinegar and soy sauce. But again, you can find dishes that are pretty good.
So what do you do?
Well, for me, when I'm really craving familiar foods, especially living in a provincial city like we do, it can be hard to find something good. We have limited restaurants, but we have our local supermarkets, though getting specific ingredients like good cheese or certain spices, different ingredients can take some searching, or even importing, which isn't cheap. But that being said, there are some go-to meals that I really enjoy. We love fried chicken, and we make different recipes with chicken and pork. My family doesn't really like beef, although I do, but I've actually figured out how to substitute alternative ingredients to make some of my familiar dishes, especially my Mexican foods. And in particular, my grilled pork fajitas are always a huge hit at family gatherings. And by the way, I love cooking. But when I'm missing restaurant food, we can always make a run to Bacolod or, a bigger city for, good pizza. There's a guy over there, an American over there, that has a fantastic hamburger restaurant, but he serves everything from American style spaghetti to, everything. And in fact, we're actually really excited. We just discovered a few days ago that they're building a set of restaurants over in Bacolod, about 2 hours from us, that will include an Olive Garden. And yeah, we're excited about Olive Garden, but a Texas Roadhouse, a TGI Fridays, and I think there was a Denny's. But going back to when I was in Manila, I found some great restaurants that, obviously that cater to, foreigner expats. So it's not impossible to find what you're craving. It's just not as readily available as you might like it to be. All right, so now let's talk about one of the biggest challenges of living in the Philippines, and that's patience. And that's a capital Patience, patience. And trust me, you're going to need it.
Oh, great. So what you're saying is things run like clockwork.
Yeah, not exactly. Things inherently move a lot slower here compared to what we're used to in the U.S. Whether we're going to a government office or just running errands, you'll find that what should take 10-15 minutes can often take, an hour or a half day. In my experience, the Philippines has really stretched, and bent my patience, literally in every direction. It's not uncommon to spend an entire afternoon doing something simple. And actually, I just realized I need to get over and get my car tags renewed before the end of this month. But I always put it off to the last minute because I know it's going to be an all morning or all afternoon or sometimes an all day experience.
Well, now that sounds like a dream come true.
Well, it's definitely an adjustment, but there's also a reason for it. Culturally, things here just aren't as rushed or as urgent as they are in the US. Life in general moves at a much slower pace, and people just take their time. Which on one hand can be refreshing if you let it be, if you just go with the flow and forget about being in a hurry. It's easier said than done. But on the practical side, there are some real challenges too. Utilities, especially electricity, and if you follow my channel, you've heard me talk about electricity until I'm not going to talk about it anymore. But just to say that they're unreliable at best. Oops, sorry about the crazy angle there. But to give you a proper perspective, we can expect several outages per day, ranging from, momentary blinks to 10 or 15 minutes or even hours long outages. Now, internet speeds, I have to actually kind of, brag a little bit, have improved vastly over the 7 years we've been here. We started out with a wireless service and then discovered that they had internet over coax, over cable TV. And then about 2 years ago or so, 2 or 3 years ago, we finally got fiber. And so, the internet service is definitely much better. But even then, today the internet shut down on me for a couple of minutes, 2 or 3 times. I don't know if they're doing maintenance or what. For me, this has become something that I've really had to prepare for especially on the electricity side, by installing a power station. And I've got a video discussing that little setup. But as of this week, I finally got my little solar system worked out, and now I have my power station backed up by solar. And if you rely on the internet for work, you're going to want, first of all, you're going to want a good service, but then you're probably going to want to have a good backup, like, portable Wi-Fi or hotspot. Traffic. Now, where we live, it's actually not that bad. You're actually seeing the streets where we live behind me here, so you can see that the traffic is not that bad. During rush hours, especially on school days, it can get a little congested. But bigger cities like Cebu or Manila, you can sit in traffic for hours to cover a trip that geographically should only take 15 or 20 minutes. I had an experience one day in Manila. Now, this was the worst experience I ever had, but what should have taken about a 30-minute each way, so an hour worth of driving, literally took 6 hours to drop someone at the airport. Now, thankfully, I was provided with a driver, so I was able to sort of relax and chill while the driver dealt with the traffic. But going back to culturally, it's all part of this different mindset. Things are just not as rushed here. And while that can be frustrating at first, or it can be frustrating, period, it's a nice reminder to slow down and appreciate the simpler things in life. In the US, we're ridiculously spoiled by everything being so quick, so fast, and efficient. But here, if you're willing to adjust, the slower pace can be a blessing in disguise. And guys, as I'm saying that, I'm being real. I've had to go through various attitude adjustments, and I'm really proud to say that in the last year, I have managed to be pretty chill about the stuff that would normally, cause road rage. All right, so next up, let's talk about healthcare and safety in the Philippines. Now, healthcare here is one of those things that's both good and bad, depending on what you're dealing with.
Oh, nice. So this is where you tell me that I'll need to fly back to the U.S. for every little thing?
Actually, no. For routine checkups, basic health care, or minor issues, you'll find that the medical care here is generally decent and very affordable. For example, I've had doctor visits that cost less than 1,000 peso. And the hospitals in bigger cities are equipped with great facilities and English-speaking staff, which makes things a lot easier. But if you have more serious medical needs or require specialized care, that's where things can get tricky. You might find that certain treatments aren't as easily or readily available, especially outside of major cities like Manila or Cebu or Davao, those larger cities like that, Dumaguete. Now, as for insurance, and again, I did a video, I'll put it up here.
Oh yeah, that's a great video.
Talking with a Filipina lady, a friend that offers health insurance counseling. Now, personally for our family, I've opted to self-insure since healthcare is really affordable out of pocket. We did purchase PhilHealth when our youngest child was born, and it saved us about 10,000 pesos, so that was a good move. I've considered getting health insurance. I just haven't gone through with it yet.
Well, we should probably put that on our to-do list, shouldn't we?
Yeah, good idea.
So what about safety? Is the Philippines a safe place to live?
Well, okay, so as far as safety goes, I've really felt safe here most of the time. In general, I'd say that the Philippines is pretty safe, especially in smaller communities where everyone knows each other. But, like anywhere else in the world, there are places you want to avoid, especially certain parts of big cities where crime rates can be higher. And common sense goes a long way. Don't flash your valuables. Stay aware of your surroundings and you'll be fine. I have never felt like I was in any danger, but I do always make sure to be cautious, especially at the ATM or in unfamiliar areas. All right, now let's get into some advice for anyone considering moving to the Philippines. And the first thing I'd say is to manage your expectations. It's easy to get caught up in the idea of living in paradise, but there's a reality behind it that you need to be prepared for.
Oh, so this is the part where you're trying to talk me out of going.
No, not at all. Yes, there are beautiful beaches, friendly people, and great weather, but day-to-day life comes with its own set of challenges, from dealing with slow bureaucracy to power outages and adapting to a different pace of life. It's all part of the experience, so it's important to come here with an open mind and realistic expectations. When it comes to finances, I can't stress enough how important it is to have a solid financial plan. Life can be affordable here, but things can also add up quickly if you're not careful. Unexpected expenses, whether it's a medical emergency, travel, or housing, can throw off your budget. So make sure you have a cushion and plan for different scenarios. It's better to have more than you need than to come up short.
Well, I mean, can I get a job there?
Yes, but that's a topic for another video. Although I do have a video that talks about ways to earn money while living abroad, and I'll link that right here.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one.
Also, don't forget to account for fluctuating exchange rates and inflation. Things can change quickly, so as in any situation, having a little extra saved is always a good idea. The other thing to prepare for is the social and emotional adjustment. Moving to the Philippines is exciting, but it's also a big change, being far from home, family, and everything familiar. And one key thing to bring with you is a sense of purpose. Without that, it's easy to get discouraged or even depressed, especially when you're far from the support systems that you're used to. It takes time to build a new life here, to make friends, and to find your place. There are days when it's tough, but over time, it gets easier as you adapt to the culture and the ways of life. I'd recommend joining local expat groups or getting involved in the community. Having a support system here can make a big difference, especially when you're feeling homesick or just adjusting to the way things work. Well, there you go. If you've got any questions or you want to share your own experiences, by all means, please drop them in the comments below. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more content about life in the Philippines. I'd love to hear from you.